Welcome to the Place Your Trades Network. I'm your host, Swing Pony, and I have DBook trading with me today.
What's
DBook,
going on,
how are
guys?
you
Thanks
doing?
for having me.
We are here today to discuss volume profile analysis with DBook. Let's talk a little bit about you and what your specialty is.
Nothing super complex. I just think it's something on Twitter, and I feel like for some reason, in terms of TA in general, people don't focus on volume very much. I just think volume analysis and volume profile analysis, both of those things, help me better understand why moves are happening. Really, there's a lot of false moves in the market, and I think that that's the one thing that I really hone in on is every move for me needs to be on a volume increase or meaningful volume, or there's always that potential for it to be a false move. If you look at SPY yesterday, that candle's a perfect example of something to me, from a volume price perspective is A plus downside to me. That's a candle that I expect to continue each time, and that's only because of the volume that we had on SPX or SPY yesterday in the dailies. Basically, I think that the core principle is it's kind of like a Newton's third law or second law. Sorry, I'm trying to sound smart here. Just kind
One
of
of the laws, it doesn't matter.
every candle that takes place in the market, there needs to be an equal amount of like effort versus result. And so, we got a pretty big result on SPY's sell candle yesterday. It was a 150 point down day, 1.5% on SPY. And so anytime I see a large result like that from the market, I need to also see a large amount of effort. And, we had that yesterday. It was, a high volume sell down. So, it's nothing that's super complex. And I think that most people still pay attention to these things. Obviously high volume sell day yesterday is more attractive to everybody for the most part. But for me, it's everything. I'm not ever making my watch list at night or, really picking out my favorite A plus setups. They don't really have anything to do with price. Every single setup I'm trying to trade is from a volume perspective.
I love it. I think it's really great when traders have a very consistent thing that they look for in their setups. And I'm not going to lie, I started seeing volume profile used in a lot of charts, and it piqued my curiosity. And I've been applying it to my charts for a while, but in terms of actually looking at the volume bars against the price action and cooling style. So I got my volume price analysis. This
There
is
it
sort of
is.
like the Bible, right? This guy right here.
Yes.
I've been reading it, and it's just, first of all, it's so well articulated. And I think one of the things that I love that Anna Cooling says is like, ultimately, as retail traders, we're always trying to figure out what are the big guys doing? What are the whales doing? And it's like, there's very little that we can interpret properly. But one of the things to look for, like you said, to validate big moves is, okay, massive volume candle. To what extent does that align with the price action, the candle that you're seeing there? And when they're mismatched, then it might be a bit of an anomaly, right? It doesn't mean a big move can happen. It just means that maybe it's not a confirmed move, right?
Yeah, and I think the way that she really articulates, how a market operates and the way that they're, advertising through media headlines and, accumulation and distribution phases and really, how they accumulate stocks and the kind of the campaign, she calls it, for them to, take the price higher. And then at a certain point, it becomes distribution, right? You go from accumulation off a bottom. And this is kind of what we just saw on SPY a little bit, where we chopped along bottom for 2 weeks. It was, being accumulated several lower wicks on the daily. And I think really, if you look at the SPY daily, the last day of that chop before we really started to rip was a nice volume increase. And so that, kind of tells you the effort's increasing. We had a large result, and it, was starting to look like they had accumulated that bottom and they were ready to take it up then. So
the market's so uncertain, and we always want like absolute clarity. This means this is going to happen. This means that's going to happen. But that's just not how it works. I mean, if that were true, then we would all be banking every single day. We would have definitive answers. The market wouldn't be fun.
And you can't fade your own system. If you're going to have a system, you have to, listen to it at all times.
Yeah, it's about building self-trust, right? Like if you don't have self-trust, you're going to be doomed in the market. So one thing I want to ask you is, do you have any charts available where you can show, certain like quintessential components of volume price analysis and what you look for?
I think that the Microsoft weekly chart is such a great example of really what I'm talking about in terms of, volume here, because, everybody's got this on their chart, volume by each day. And this is the profile that we've been talking about on the right side, guys, in case you're unfamiliar with that. This is showing volume by price. So same concept, but it's just by price level, volume by price level, instead of volume by time frame like we all use, right? So this is going to show me, in the simplest way to put it, just, supply and demand in essence. Just being able to pull up a chart and within 3 seconds, I can roughly see where supply and demand are is just huge for me with
Yeah.
the profile. So, really, I think just the way to look at it is, how did they get over twice the result here with less effort? That's, the start to the volume anomaly for me. If you're trusting your system, this is where I would have been looking long on Microsoft. And then really this candle is the best one you can really look at.
I'm going to pull up these event contracts. Are you familiar with them?
It kind of looked to me like options trading without theta. As long as this price ends the day, you're going to get paid. So it's interesting.
So essentially, what event contracts are is they give you an ability to predict the daily close. So you get access to 10 different futures markets. I mean, markets that if you're not a futures trader, maybe you wouldn't normally touch, you can get exposure to here. And essentially, you have a fixed risk and fixed reward. So going into ES, for example, all you're deciding is, will it end above whatever strike you pick? Yes or no. And very similar to options, the closer you are to being in the money, the more expensive the contract is. The further out you are, it's going to be a lot cheaper. I mean, I could buy, it's going to close above $39.75 for $1.25. That is 60 points away. Very unlikely, but just to give you an example, if I get this yes at $1.25 and we happen to close above $39.75, that $1.25 is going to close out as a $20 payout. It can be fun to do, my lottos on here sometimes. I love it for big days where there's FOMC, there's CPI, because those are the days that we can get the massive moves. And, you could do a strangle, you could take some calls, you could take some puts and still make really good money along the way. So if we're trading at 39.17 right now, as you can see, the ones where the yes and the no's are the closest are above 39.25, yes or no. So that's probably a good strike to look at.
Very interesting. That's a 20 bagger. Hey, the dollar to a 20, and you can just pick the amount of contracts you want. You can take,
Totally.
50 of them if you want.
You can do 1, you can do 50, you can do as many as you want. If I wanted to say yes to above 39.25, I'd come in here, I'd click that, and I pay the 9. And if I'm right at the end of the day, I get $20 for it.
You're basically eliminating all the Greeks with this. It's just, will this close above or below? And so I like this a lot, especially I think around, huge events like CPI, when the contracts on the market are very juiced and expensive. And, this could be another way to do that. I like that.
What are you thinking? So we're trading at 39.17 today. Like I said, I'm kind of anticipating 3,900 to hold. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of relief.
It's a tough one for me today because we did gap down. I think a lot of people are talking about a put wall around 3,900, some type of gamma support with a lot of contracts and open interest sitting there. It's going to be a day where I'm super patient off of open, but in terms of where we're going to close, I don't think I can pick above on anything and feel great about it.
So you can pick your strike. So right now we're at 39.17. You could say 39.25. Will it close above? Yes. Or will it not? No. You could even say it'll close below 3,900, and that would be $6, for example.
What does my $6 on the 3,900 no option turn to?
So that's the thing. Fixed risk, fixed reward. Your only risk is what you pay for it. So if you pay $6 and you're wrong, you lose $6. If you pay $6 and you're right, that is always going to be a full $20 payout. That's one thing I love, because as options traders, we always want to maximize gains, right? It's our instinct, especially when you see how options run. And so here, there's not a sense of like, am I missing out on a bigger gain? And the thing that's great with these is you can also scale out along the way. So a lot of times if I'm being, more responsible, what I'll do is if I hit $17, $18, I'll start to scale some out, because I know the last hour of the market can be crazy volatile. I'm pretty close to being in the money now, or I am in the money. but I don't know that I'm going to get the close. So why don't I lock some profits along the way, and I'll leave a few. And if they close out at $20, great.
Yeah. That's I like that a lot. So I think that I would probably go with no 3,900. I think that's
Okay.
the bet that I would be placing today. What are you leaning towards?
I would like to see a bit of a relief. I might go for a yes above 39.25. I might test my luck there. We do have OPEX this week too. I'm going to see if we can get a little bit of a relief bounce.
That's a hot take, Swing Pony. I do agree on the OPEX thing. That could definitely, keep us from waterfalling until we get behind that January 20th expiry. But I don't know. We'll see if there's any news dropping today.
We'll see what happens. And if you guys are tuned in and you're interested in trading event contracts with us, just download the app through Tradeovate. It's all over our site. And we do have daily live streams where everybody goes through their picks. And we've got, daily picks from Anthony Crudele. He's got 5-star picks, 4-star picks. So all sorts of fun stuff that you guys can follow along with. DBook, thank you so much for coming on.
I'd love to come on again, and good luck to you guys. We'll see how crazy it is out here.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.